You know, I think my analysis on Quinn Hughes has actually been spot on to this point, especially when you hear the players' comments and the way the team is acting. I understand there are some weird things that Jim Rutherford said when he was like, we can't control whether he wants to play with his brothers. Till this day, I do not understand why that uttered out of that man's mouth, but whatever. Again, now we have Jeff Merrick coming out saying that, quote, we all know where this is heading. And again, Merrick is alluding to the fact that Quinn Hughes is gone. Now, I personally have gone a little bit against the grain when it comes to content creators and YouTubers. I just don't think that's necessarily true. I think it's much more complex than that. Of course, it's true that Quinn Hughes could leave. He could leave for really anything. But we're going to get into all of that in this video, plus some new comments by this player. Welcome back to Pixel Plus Hockey, guys. If you could make sure to hit that subscribe button, it would be so greatly appreciated. And thank you so much to those that are already supporting me as well. Now, I think the two biggest stories going on around the NHL are Connor McDavid, of course. The stuff coming out of Connor McDavid's mouth is pretty... I still think he's going to re-sign in Edmonton, but also Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is a, number one in his prime, offensive D, superstar D, like the type of player that you build around not just the cornerstone of a franchise, but the centerpiece of a franchise. That's how good he is. And again, everybody's saying, it's just a matter of time till he leaves, but I think it's more complex than that. I think he could leave, but I think that if he leaves, it's going to be because he doesn't see a chance to win in Vancouver. And that's what the complex thing is. Players just want to win. If the Vancouver Canucks were in the playoffs every single season, going on runs and stuff like that, I would guarantee you Quinn Hughes would not leave. Okay, he just wants to win. Now, I can't guarantee that now because at the end of the day, maybe the Vancouver Canucks have a bad season next year. And you know what I mean? Like, you just simply can't guarantee that, unfortunately. Now, just to remind ourselves, we'll look at the quote right now that Rutherford did say a while back now. It may not boil down to money with Quinn. He said before he wants to play with his brothers, and that we partly out of our control, close quote. Again, whatever, really silly comment. I just don't know. I don't know what the Vancouver Canucks gained by him saying that. But we have another really, really interesting quote here. One thing I'm really good at, or have gotten good at, is I'm very present. I can't even sign for another year, so there's nothing I can do. As far as the noise about his future, I can handle the noise. That's why I'm captain of the team, because I can handle these things. I can play at an elite level. It doesn't matter what's going on around me. Close quote. So that's very, very good. It's good to see that he's centered, that he understands that, listen, at the end of the day, you cannot have this affect the team. I really think the Canucks need to have at least a decent season this year to keep Quinn Hughes. That's my official take. If the Vancouver Canucks have another bad season, that's not good. It's really, really not looking good, right? And that's ultimately, I believe, why if he does leave, he will bounce. But I don't think that's, I don't think that's just a for sure thing. This is where the interesting quote that, again, this aligns with almost exactly what I've been saying about Quinn Hughes. Quote, every year brings its different challenges, he said. Two of my buddies, Canuck teammates Connor Garland and Brock Besser, just signed in Vancouver long term. I will say last year was not fun. It just wasn't. But I'm a really competitive guy, and the last year was a failure, so I'm trying to bring out my best, try to be a great leader, and help my team get in the playoffs. Who knows what we can do? Who knows? I'll be feeling this time next year. It's still a year away, close quote. So again, this is, I don't know how much more obvious Quinn Hughes can make it without saying it. First off, he's pointing to exactly what I said. Two American guys that decided to re-sign with the Vancouver Canucks. That's number one. I've been pointing this a lot. The Vancouver Canucks actually are able to keep players around, American ones might I add, when other American players are running away from Canadian franchises. That's also really, really good. And he's alluding to the fact that it was very, very hard on him last year. So again, what he's saying is, who knows how I'm going to feel next year? He just wants to win. Now, I suppose some other YouTubers can take the quote at the end of, who knows what we can do, who knows how I'll be feeling this time next year, it's still a year away, blah, blah, blah. You can take that quote out of context and you can say, well, he's leaving the door open, which is true, I guess that's true. But I look at the more important quotes as before, that, again, he hated losing. And no matter what you want to say, last year was hard on everybody. I mean, I thought the year before the Vancouver Canucks were on their way. They were going to be like a great team, rebuild complete. They had JT Miller. Elias Pettersson was hitting at a point per game clip. They had their number one center, number two center, pretty decent wingers. Quinn Hughes is always going to be good. They had a starting goalie. It was kind of like, okay, the Canucks are back. You know what I mean? They are a good team again. And unfortunately, it just hasn't gone that way. And I'm sure that the captain is very, very disappointed in that. Now, to shift gears, I did want to talk about Evander Kane a little bit. I think that the Evander Kane was a good pickup from the Oilers, and we have a really, really interesting quote around Evander Kane here. You obviously want to play with the best players available as much as possible. He's alluding to Elias Pettersson here. Kane said, "I anticipate that's probably going to happen at some point. It will be about using our skill sets to our advantage to build as much chemistry, as much success as possible." Close quote. So yes, I'm really interested to see how they approach Elias Pettersson this season, because you cannot. The one thing is you have to make sure Elias Pettersson is good this season. If he is scoring like 50 points or something like that, I think the Canucks are cooked. You cannot pay this guy this much money to have him be average. You can't have the guy being a 50-point checker, right? You just, well, not a 50-point checker, but you get what I mean. He has to produce at a point-per-game clip, and I think the Canucks, if he does that, and they have a couple of players step up, and their goalies actually play to where their goalies can in terms of Lankinen and Demko, I think that they could easily be back in the playoffs for sure. And here we have another interesting quote around Kane and Elias Pettersson. After skating with Pettersson on Wednesday, Kane also complimented him and his bit of a new look, quote, and slightly different attitude. He praised his speed and ability to handle the puck through the neutral zone and compared him to other players he's played with who also have these attributes. So it looks like Evander Kane is probably, close quote, sorry, it looks like Evander Kane is probably going to be playing with Elias Pettersson this season. Hopefully, that would be a nice, I mean, hopefully Evander Kane is healthy. He had a lot of really random injuries. He went through some surgeries and stuff like that last year. So hopefully he is healthy and he can put up a bunch of points, because again, Elias Pettersson needs to be really, 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 really good for the Vancouver Canucks. And honestly, man, if he is, I think the Vancouver Canucks are at least going to probably be in the playoffs, I would say. But what do you guys think? Do you think the Vancouver Canucks are going to make the playoffs? Do you think I'm completely off with this? What do you think about Quinn Hughes, too? Do you think Quinn Hughes is pretty much 1 foot out the door? Or do you agree with me and say, I think that he just wants to play for a competitive team, but he still might leave, but he wants to play for a competitive team? Anyways, guys, I am going to leave this video here. If you can make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.